Hello and welcome to another Lord of the Rings Rise to War video. I'm the player who plays as the King Under the Mountain, and today I am going to be doing my season update review. It is I have no idea what, day 12 technically of this server. Action has started to happen. So what we're going to do is we are going to go through some battle reports. We are going to go through the leaderboards. We're going to go through what's kind of happened so far, because it's been quite entertaining, to be honest. And then we're also going to look at whether or not I'm doing the right thing by not using a tank unit. So we're going to look through some reports, and I'm going to explain the theory behind that. So I will very quickly show you the changes to my gear. And then we'll go from there. So I have still left Dane's gear exactly the same. He is still all-out attack. Saruman still has a small amount of command. Not that it's really doing him that good at the moment, but that's more to do with the fact that I'm using tier 2 troops on him. Gandalf the White has more command now because I moved my Grey Wizard's hat off him and put this on. It gives me more command. It fits a little bit more with my formation, and I'll talk through that when we get to it. It has lowered my focus though. And then my command gear itself, which is actually less technically because the rolls on Gandalf's unique, is still the same as it was before. So you'll see levels wise, we're around 43 and 42 at the moment. B team, I'll be honest, haven't come out the box, and that's more to do with the fact that I'm trying to keep disciplined because we're fighting 200 v 100 in the south, shall we say. But we'll go into that as we go along. So here is the leaderboards. Raven is way out in front still with 56,000 affluence. Mavius, my favourite farmer of Middle-earth, is second with 53.7k. And then we go into a little bit of everyone. Dig Duck, Mortius, Tar Nip Kittenson, interesting. Kevin's, you've got a lot of lame in there now. There is only 100 of them in their area, so they've got a little bit more space to be able to do that. You've got Prince Tim, always nice to see a fellow Tim. You've got Myth still in there, and Liv Tyler, of all people, at 10. There you go. So I'm sitting around in 15th. I haven't really been pushing affluence. I will show you my workshop setup, which is quite nice at the moment, to be honest. So that's kind of where we're at. I will also show you the Fellowship leaderboards, whereby we still have the most affluence. So I am in the Order and Toby Kingdom this season. I am playing in Order just because we're kind of one team. I did go through this last time, but as we're now basically a team of 200, it doesn't really matter which of the two teams we sit in. So I'm playing in Order this season. You have Bear at 3.3 million. You have Lame at 3.2. Lame are on their own currently. You have Honk, who are with Bear in their kingdom, at 3.2. And then you go into the slightly smaller ones, who, to be fair to them, have picked a fight with themselves, which is quite nice. And we'll kind of go into that as well, because that's quite nice to see. As for Commander leaderboards, you will see the top levels are 43. It's nice to see that I'm actually second in the Commander leaderboards. However, Carp has been going a bit nuts, to be fair. His merit's looking good. And he's currently sat between 3 and 6. So fair play to you, Carp. Good work. Nice to see you do something that isn't moaning for a change. So we will from there go into... Where should we go to next? Let's go into the map. Probably makes some sense. So you will see there is already 3 rather large red pins on the map, but we will go to those afterwards. So in Eastern Wastes, you have Gods versus Joy. And to be honest, it's nice to see that these two have kind of picked off a fight, which suits them both, I'll be honest, over there at a crossing and at a pass. It looks like they're actually having a lot of fun, and they're very welcome to continue to do so. You have the Honk and Bear Kingdom in the south. You have the slightly darker blue coloured Lame Kingdom in the north. And you have the Toby and Order Kingdom, which is this light blue colour. Please, to all leaders in the future, try not to do this with colours. It just doesn't sit well with me. You'll see some red passes in here. This is Food. Let's be honest about it. Food is an alt fellowship of ours. They are patrolling around this kind of area at the moment. To be fair, they've done quite well to be able to take a couple of passes so far. And then we'll go into the pins. So I'm going to start with the north. And there is a 11.6 million participant, 4.3 million deaf here. This is Toby and Lame predominantly. Order are in the south, or they should be. If they're not, then someone needs to start talking to people about that. Not me. And then we also have another pin in the Eaton Moors where there's these two passes here, and that's 2.5 million, only 1 million deafs. In the very far south, you have Order taking on Bear and Honk, and this is a 27.3 million pin, 10.3 million deafs. Now that started yesterday morning, obviously, when the passes opened up, and this is what happened. So, Toby took the very northern pass up here, Lame took this pass here, and Order, to be fair, did really well to actually capture this pass because it's on the wrong side. Right, so I'm just kind of going to show where these things are on the map. Now, that was really good work, actually, in how we captured that pass. But as you could see from here, this pass is very much a stand and deliver. There's a few people either side. Not really a great deal going on, but, you know, enough going on to make it so it works. In the north, Toby, which isn't technically just, well, it is Toby now because they're playing in Toby, but it is obviously the Ducks are in there as well in the main, and also some Odin, so it's a very strong Toby, to be fair, and they have pushed Lane back slightly away from this pass up here. I say slightly, quite away now. They've also done quite well in uprooting people, so people were all here, so they've cleared all this ground, and then they've kind of stalled a little bit, I think, as far as it goes here, but still on the offensive, shall we say, everyone moving forward. In the south, for Order, it was going really well after we took this yesterday. Yesterday was a very good day, so considering there is only 100 players from Order here, we took this pass, which is on their side, we cleared all this out, and we kept clearing down, and from memory, we got to somewhere down here. I think it was about here. So as you can see, Honk have now pushed back quite a lot. And my fort is currently very much in danger, I would suspect. So, and by very much in danger, I mean there is an army here. And it's Patrick. Now, Patrick was a bit of a dirty whale in 1.0 and also in 2.0. But if he's going to leave that there, I've only really got one option, sadly. Sorry, Patrick. Had to guard there. So, that's Patrick dead. I will probably attempt to refill while we continue. See what happens. So, there we go. Anyway, sorry, Patrick. My bad. I think that was only a paffer from him, to be fair. But what a waste of great piece. And what a great way of getting some merit for me. A nice Gandalf, though. Anyway, so that's kind of the situation of the map. We are being pushed back by the 200 now, to be honest. They have these side crossings here are actually quite interesting. Both teams have used them at different times to flank each other. So definitely at this stage, Honk and Bear on top down here, even though they didn't quite manage to snipe the pass. I think from what we saw of Bear last season, they did take a day or so to get into the work. So I would assume they're now getting into that. So, without clicking on the little red dot in the corner, which is clearly going to give away pins, I would suspect, as that would be very bad for me to do, we're going to go into some battle reports. And I'm going to go through this one to start with, because everyone's been telling me this is going to happen a lot, right? So, in this fight, this is the only one really where he's failed me so far. So, this is the Dane-Bjorn debate, whereby sometimes, and let's say sometimes because it's not all the time, people feel they need to defend themselves if they haven't got 1.0 gear with stun from this happening to Dane. And I completely get why, right? Now he is a bit of a stun and madness magnet. This is crippling. It doesn't also help that, Saruman also got quite a lot there. So my damage was not ideal, shall we say, in that fight. However, people are basically saying that Bjorn is better than Dane because he's round 4, even though he can completely pew his own army, does then make him stun and madness immune afterwards, and he's got a madness effect on top. I would argue that they are ignoring the fact that Ironfoot has a stun attached to it, and the fact that Dane is a superior, a ceiling level damage dealer. And so I just wanted to show that people have been telling me that this was going to happen all season. It has happened. Thank you very much for that. But it hasn't happened all season. So I'm also going to talk through the fact that so far I haven't used a tank unit, or not one with Taunt anyway. So hopefully there's no Taunt here as well from Jabba technically. So what the theory behind this formation was. So I tried to use some War Drummers, right? So War Drummers, let's go from start to finish. With the way this formation works, with this being a ranged troop and Shire Protectors, the Shire Protectors will be protected by someone. I believe in this fight, very stupidly, they were protected by Saruman's tier 2s, which is not ideal, right? However, Shire Protectors get protected. Tier 2 get protected from normal attacks due to there being melee in the army, right? So until the melee dies, you won't be able to hit these tier 2 very squishy sort of, the lower form of a bow knight, because you can't hit him, the cavalry archer, with a normal attack. Now, normally to make that effect, you need a troll unit. So we'll just go through this fight with Jabba, which I think was actually my first PvP from memory, maybe. Anyway, I thought it was a decent fight. Jabba will get 3-4 million merit with Sistara, which, to be fair to him, you can't really complain too much about. So I'm hoping someone around here has got a troll, which they haven't, because I want to be able to talk through how this actually works. No, Great Beast does a similar thing, but... So basically, where are we here? No, bad. Sorry, I will find one that... People were using trolls, so I don't really know why I can't find a troll. This is very fumbly. So, okay, we'll talk with the Swan Knight, because there's the two different types. So, in effect, people tend to use either Great Beasts, or more commonly seen, Swan Knights, or trolls, as in tier 3 trolls. And the reason why they do this is because they have this taunt. Right, so in effect, Protector for the first 3 rounds protects 2 allied formations. Okay, now these are from mainly a normal attack style thing. So the other issue here is a troll, which also has a similar taunt. If I can find a troll, here we go. And again, they pull normal attacks, right? So what the plan is, by running how I'm running this formation, is that these 2 units have to pull the normal attacks, because these 2 units can't. So I'm just trying to take some damage away, basically, from my 2 damage dealers. Now, if we go back to these fights, the reason behind this is I'm trying to be cheap, because I understand that we're going to be outnumbered. It is kind of a 3v2 right now. Not officially, I don't think, but it is kind of a 3v2 right now. And realistically, I need to be able to keep myself in troops, and without going full Guardians, I was trying to just be a bit more creative. So War Drummers were doing quite a good job. They were quite squishy, but on my Sauron, they weren't terrible, because they still had 153 defense with 600-ish command. They're still pretty tanky, to be honest. And this is a really good result. Again, Dane putting in some good work, but Golden Bear's got a really nice formation. Again, using Swans. So, using this method of pulling the normal attacks, my White Council stays a little bit longer. My White Council is lower because my Gandalf is basically there as a secondary tank, hence the 205 focus. So by the time I've been hit by a Sauron in most cases, because they're slightly faster than me, this one would have been just about, I think. Only just, but I think it still would have been just about faster than me. So my focus goes down to 160. It's about 50% damage reduction. Now, the reason behind I'm thinking like this is because White Council doesn't last very long these days anyway. So I've been trying to do something that's slightly cheaper and allowing me to kind of still do quite well in combat. So this formation's outrageous, by the way. This guy was running around with so much tier 4 on day 1. And that was another thing that I kind of wanted to talk about. The amount of tier 4 I saw on day 1 of this server was literally disgusting. I mean, why on earth people are setting up to fight for a long period of time with such troops, I have no idea. Anyway, again, fairly decent result with this. You know, again, resource win very easily, I would say, even with the Guardians, just because the Swans being so expensive. And this was kind of my staple formation for the first day. And in the background, I was making Cataphracts and I was making actual Bow Knights. But I have run out of Shire Ponies now, and I will be making some more because, God, do they make a difference to what you're doing. Again, this guy has got slightly, I would say, what people would consider off-meta gear. Right? And he's a very similar level to me. But it's a really effective formation. And I saw some people really struggle with this yesterday. So, you know, really hard to take damage early on. And then he's got the refinements in the pieces that sort of make sense. So you could say I've got a bit lucky there as well, because if he'd have had 10 points in here, this is just the fact that not many people use Orcs, and that's normally the last skill to be filled. So I am trying to use the War Drummers earlier rather than later. And I'd never really used them, so I was just trying to use them. This was actually really bad RNG. Again, I haven't had many fights like this, but when I'm having them, they are really bad. And they tend to involve a lot of stuns and a lot of madness, whereby I think in this fight, round 4, I pretty much blew myself up. There you go. So in this round, his Bjorn hits me, and then my Saruman hits me, and my Dane hit me, all in the same round. So, you know, that's kind of to be expected every now and again. I was okay with this fight from a resource point of view. I don't think this is terrible, because this is actually a really, really decent formation. And bear in mind, again, I'm not using a genuine tank unit. I thought this was pretty solid. And it's always nice to, if you're going to lose 21, a fella Tim is someone to lose to. So, you know, I felt like this, I was okay with that. It's pretty solid. There's a tier 2 in there. I'm still using some smalls every now and again. I'm just trying to mix in troops to last for a long period of time. Tier 4 in here again, and all tier 3. Again, I was happy with this. Dane putting in good numbers. What I will say is Saruman did suffer with me using the tier 2 troops on him, to be perfectly honest. Again, I think this is where I changed. So I had to change. I ran out of War Drummers, and then I basically changed to Cataphracts, and I saw instantly massive improvements to my results over the War Drummers. So the War Drummer was basically put in there to try and cleanse any kind of madness or stun that I had on either of my DDs. So my order of how things were working was, it basically went Gandalf the White went first, mainly because I couldn't do anything about that. Sauron then acted, which made the War Drummers act second, which meant I was slow enough that in theory the enemy formation would be faster than me. Any kind of stuns and things could hopefully be cleared by the War Drummers. And I did see that in some fights, to be honest. So I did see some value to the War Drummer. Anyway, this was where I switched to Cataphracts. And again, you know, respectable gear levels, cut through that pretty well. Early levels, that's about as good a win as I'm going to get with the size of my account, really and truthfully. And then I was really happy with this hit on Mavius. Now, I know he's only using tier 2s, but, you know, I'm just 2/3 full. And Mavius has got a serious account, to be fair to him. So I was pretty happy with that. So I feel like this formation was working, particularly with the Cataphracts. I think I've got a couple more in here. So, again, I felt like this was a really good result. Again, I get them facing some smalls, but there's tier 4 in there and a Taunt unit again. I felt this was solid. Really solid, to be honest, because I feel like I'm outgeared at this level and out-respect leveled. The only good thing for me is that he was using attack gill, which is basically like an instant win for me anyway. But, you know, you have to kind of show that, don't you, when there's an attack gill doing 43k with March Wardens. Disgustingly bad. But again, Shire Ponies didn't really do me any favours here. I think they pulled Saruman. So it was a nice result. And then on the follow through, we did some damage, but not a lot. That's the only problem sometimes when you get hit by multiple armies. And then this was really interesting, and people have really struggled with this guy. So he runs kind of like a troop build, but I've seen really good things from some of the bears and Elrond in general. So not just with tier 4 either. So he's running Thorin, respect 5 as well, to be honest. I mean, gear's great. Gandalf with Shire Ponies, I have no idea why that is. If someone can explain to me why you'd want Gandalf with Shire Ponies, let me know. Probably even Elrond with Shire Ponies would probably be better. But yeah, his Elrond's really nice. Really good command levels, really good attack levels. 766 command on Elrond. And then a really nice E6 Gil. I mean, again, it's attack Gil, so it's never going to do too much. 49k from attack Gil. GG's, thanks for coming. But again, felt that was a decent result, and it's nice to see some troop damage actually working. I think if I look into this, I got absolutely peppered on one of these rounds. That round there, I mean, that's impressive damage from a troop build setup. You tend not to get that from hitting anyone who's using commander damage, to be honest. And then round 3 also. I obviously catch up as the fight goes on, as my damage dealers get more into the fight. But I felt that was an interesting fight. The last one, I don't know if I showed this one earlier on, was a fight not so long ago from Patov. And again, got a little bit slapped here. From memory, I don't think I had the best of RNG. Yeah, I didn't have the best of RNG, but, we're still there. So that's kind of where I'm at with it at the moment. And I just wanted to talk through that fact that at the moment, I am not using a genuine tank unit. And that's mainly because I just physically cannot afford to do so. I find it, like, as you can see here, there's a lot of armies around here. I don't think I've fought Whip yet, so I could probably go over there, but again, I should probably just hit Haze. Again, scouting targets as best you can. You kind of, when you're behind on troops like this, I mean, that's the kind of army really that I should probably take on, mainly because if I can take them out, it's taking someone else off the battlefield, and I should trade quite well. So we'll soon see whether I do actually trade quite well. But that's kind of everything that I'm going to cover. Like I say, it's interesting not using a tank. I don't know how long I can get away with it for. Will I have better results? Possibly with a Troll or a Swan Knight? Probably. But the cost, I just physically cannot afford it right now. And I'm guessing I've had some pretty terrible looking RNG here, I guess. Although it looks like I've come through quite nice in the end. So yeah, okay, fair enough. We just haven't finished them off. And that's kind of everything, really. I'm going to go back to my fort. Like I say, I expect to lose my Nan's Left Nut fort very shortly. Which is a bit of a shame, because I was enjoying fighting from here. But reality is, at the moment, we're a little bit behind in the south. And that was kind of everything. So if you want to try out not using the tank unit, like I say, I've just shown some results there. I think it's brought up some interesting things. War drummers I enjoyed, but they're a little bit slow to cook, which is a bit annoying. And I don't think I've got any troops inside my fort here. So whoever is actually attacking me, not ideal, should we say. Little bit unfair. Let's see what it is. Oh, it's Hero as well. Hero has actually got a really good formation. So what we're going to do here, so I can actually move before my fort dies, is we're probably going to try and switch to here, I think. And then see how that goes. But anyway, in the meantime, like I say, please try the new things. There's a lot going on at the game. It's so nice to see that they've tried to fix recuperation. It's going to go down to 10% from this week's update. Thank God, 10% of conscription time. Try not using a tank so much, because I'm looking at day 1 war here, and the amount of tier 4 that I was seeing. I mean, some people won't be able to fight today at all, or even tomorrow probably, because of what they were using. I saw someone running around with full chariots. I mean, wow. So if you want to help your team out, which I would suspect we all do, probably try and actually be on the battlefield a little bit every now and again, But anyway, that's that. So, if in doubt, as always, follow your nose.